Intune for Education was specifically designed for schools. Schools that have Intune for Education also have Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Settings applied in Intune for Education automatically show up in Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Settings in Microsoft Endpoint Manager show up in Intune for Education. Intune for Education is accessed at intuneeducation.portal.azure.com. When we navigate to intuneeducation.portal.azure.com, it brings us to the Intune for Education dashboard. A first step for schools will be to select the Launch Express Configuration tile. Selecting the Express Configuration tile opens up a wizard to begin creating policies and deploying applications to groups of users and devices. Click Get Started. Intune for Education works with School Data Sync. School Data Sync links your student information system to your Intune for Education environment. For the sake of our demonstration, we are going to skip this and select Continue to set up Intune for Education. We now are going to select a group that we will assign apps to and settings. The groups that are listed on this page are the same as your Azure Active Directory groups. After selecting a group, the next step is to choose applications to deploy to users and devices in the selected group. Here you see at the top Microsoft Office, followed by Microsoft Store applications, web applications, and software that you've uploaded previously into the Intune for Education or Microsoft Endpoint Manager portal. After selecting applications, the next step is to choose settings for devices and users within the selected group. Here, you can configure a preferred Azure Active Directory tenant domain, resulting in users only signing in with their username and not their full email address, block specific applications, as well as configure certain settings. Using Express Configuration, you have successfully chosen a group, assigned applications to that group, chose appropriate settings for that group, and now the last step is to review those settings and select Done. Now back on our Intune for Education dashboard, we're going to go back into our Azure Active Directory groups and apply more granular settings to our education devices. When we select groups on the dashboard, we are brought to the groups page. At the top of the page, we can create groups. These groups can be dynamic or static groups. Once a group is selected, you can see devices and users within that group, as well as apply applications. By selecting Edit Apps, you are able to assign Office, Microsoft Store applications, web applications, and any installed software applications that have previously been uploaded. Next to Applications on the top of the screen, there is a button called Settings. In Settings, we can control settings just like we did in Express Configuration, but now with even more settings visible. This is true for Windows and iOS devices. In our Windows device settings, we can go in and configure the Azure Active Directory preferred domain name, go into application settings and restrict certain applications or uninstall pre-installed applications, go into enrollment and select autopilot deployment profiles, go into Microsoft Edge and block certain URLs or extensions, go into network connectivity and turn features on and off, go into power and sleep and change when the device wakes, sleeps, and the timers for each. Go into printer settings to add any local printers. Go into Security Settings to control Windows Defender. Go into Shared Devices to turn on the Shared Device policy. Go into Updates and Upgrade in order to change the SKU of Windows on the device or to switch out of S mode, and then the user experience where settings visible to the user can be turned on and off, as well as other customizations. In addition to managing Windows 10 devices in Intune for Education, school leaders can also manage their iPads using iOS device settings. Looking at the iOS device settings section, you'll see numerous features that are able to be controlled from the Intune for Education portal. Controlling applications and content restrictions all occur in the App Store, iTunes Store, and Bookstore settings. Underneath is built-in applications. This is where an IT admin would go in to turn off features like FaceTime. Device restrictions is the category below, followed by iCloud, keyboard and dictionary, lock screen wallpaper, network and connectivity, passcode, Safari, Siri, and update restrictions. Now back on the Intune for Education dashboard, let's dive into applications and how those are uploaded and synced so that they can be deployed via Intune for Education. Now on the Apps page of the Intune for Education portal, we see all of our applications listed on the second blade. At the top of that blade, there is a button for Quick Add Popular Apps. Selecting that brings the most popular education apps right to the forefront for our school leader to select and add. Underneath those popular apps are Microsoft Office applications. Followed below are web applications. Here you can create a web app to a popular website that can then be deployed to your managed devices. Underneath that are Microsoft Store applications. Anything you've added at the Microsoft Education Store can be added here and is found here. Underneath that is your desktop applications. In Intune for Education, you are able to upload .msi files. For any exe files that would need to be wrapped in the .intunewin format, we would encourage folks to go to the Microsoft Endpoint Manager portal to do that. Many school leaders want to keep track of their devices, security settings, policies, changes, and as a result, they are looking for reports. Now, on the dashboard for Intune for Education, we will take a look at the reporting section. On the reporting page, school leaders can go in and see their device inventory. They can select device actions and see actions that have been taken within the Intune for Education console, such as setting changes and application pushes. Then go into application inventory. Navigate to settings errors to see any overlap or conflicts as they exist. Go into Windows Defender and see the last time Windows Defender updated and ran. on each of the managed devices, and autopilot deployment to see all of their autopilot devices, whether they are deployed or not, in one place. Many school leaders want to keep track of their devices, security settings, policies, changes, and as a result, they are looking for reports. Now, on the dashboard for Intune for Education, we will take a look at the reporting section. Intune for Education was specifically designed for schools. Schools that have Intune for Education also have Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Settings applied in Intune for Education automatically show up in Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Settings in Microsoft Endpoint Manager show up in Intune for Education. Intune for Education is accessed at intuneeducation.portal.azure.com.